Some of the challenges that the police service face include being able to understand the common needs of diverse groups, and that naturally leads to clustering and sometimes hierarchy, unfortunately. What we also need to do is understand that many colleagues identify with several different characteristics, and just because they look a certain way, that might not reflect what their most important needs may be. Managers aren't always in tune with that and willing to talk about reasonable adjustments. I think one of the challenges we face is that many of us, particularly now it's a 35-year career, during the course of our service will encounter a life-changing injury or life-changing disease. And unfortunately, sometimes with forces, the focus tends to be on what people then cannot do, rather than everything that they're left with in terms of their skills and their capability.
The one thing to perhaps really understand that people miss is often talking to perhaps a female gay officer such as myself and referring to their husband. Perhaps it might be better to actually talk about someone's partner, just to stop that officer then having to question whether they need to out themselves in that situation or not. Asking whether they want children. Lots of LGBT couples are having children now, but it's not always something that everybody wants to think about. And really the main thing to do is just ask. When it comes to pronouns, just ask how someone would prefer to be referred to. Staff associations across the board put in a huge amount of time and effort to improve things for both the organisation itself and for the staff and officers within it. Unfortunately, a lot of those staff put in a huge amount of their own time, and I think it's really important that the organisation supports them and gives them this time to do the work they want to do that does actually support the organisation ultimately.
I think, in terms of understanding and embracing different cultures, it's a multifaceted question, and I'll break it down into the understanding part first. And there's two parts of it for me. The first part is just a general lack of interest. People aren't interested in understanding or knowing the nuances within the community. And within that, I suggest there may be some remnants of an elitist attitude that some officers and staff may have within the organisation. And it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of offending. And when this lack of understanding plays out in the decision-making of officers, and particularly when it's spiced with a stereotype or a bias, then that creates a mistrust, which ultimately reduces our legitimacy. What needs to be improved? One, we need to improve the optics at all ranks. I think our mentality towards difference needs to change. That needs to be improved. Our training needs to be improved, and it shouldn't be seen as a tick box exercise. And the challenge with training is that the issues in policing that we're trying to address is a constantly moving target, and we need to be vigilant and always be alert to where the ground reality is.